This is pretty incredible. Check this out. If you have ever wanted to live inside one of your own comic books, you can do it with this.
There are too many. We can't hold this position for long. We need another plan.
The swarm adapts, splitting into two faster groups to bypass your direct line of fire and flank your position. How do you address the two flanking groups of creatures now closing in rapidly from both sides?
Welcome to the first fully interactive, choose your own adventure AI comic book video game. If you want to, you can download this for free. They have this completely for free right now for some reason, and you can get it using the link down below. But this is something that I have genuinely sunk hours into recently, and I'm kind of starting to think that this is the next frontier when it comes to AI gaming, because dude, this is fun. And I'm going to talk about the reasons why, but just to continue the story, let's go ahead and check how much ammo we have.
You quickly check your rifle's display. You have 2 magazines remaining for your assault rifle, and the heavy plasma cannon feels ready.
Sick.
Stanton, they're almost here. What's the plan?
Now, the way this game works is obviously, because it's AI generated, it's completely open-ended and it's completely dynamic. You can choose to do whatever you want, and every time you take an action, you can see the consequences of that action, and once you get to a point where you can make another decision, you can just continue playing the game and moving the story in whatever direction you want it to go. But this isn't a creative tool. This is still a game. And that's what I think sets this apart to a lot of other AI games that we've seen so far. Inside of this game, one of the things that it does really, really well is it actually tracks every single item in your inventory. So you can't just magically manifest things out of thin air. You can't say, well, I just pull a bazooka out of my leg. It's not going to let you do that because it tracks all of those different things and makes sure that you're only taking actions that are physically possible in the game world that you're playing. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this, because unlike other things I've shown on this channel, which are photorealistic and let you go anywhere, what they're lacking is that narrative depth. And this is kind of a solution to that. This is almost like the Oblivion or Skyrim of AI video games. But instead of being restricted on where you can go and what you can do, this is a truly infinite, procedurally AI-generated universe that you can explore that actually has narrative structure. And yes, you can lose the game. You can even die if you make the wrong decisions. And just to illustrate that point, I've been playing a little bit in the background here. I'm going to go ahead and using the combat knife that I still have, because I've used up all of my ammunition while I've been talking here, instead of falling back and looking for more supplies, I'm just going to YOLO here. And I know I have a combat knife in my inventory, and I am just going to charge at these aliens, and I'm going to get myself killed. I mean, just to show you that it's possible, and this is a game, and if you make the wrong decisions, you lose.
You holster the plasma cannon, draw your combat knife, and charge headlong into the swarming creatures. The smaller creatures immediately swarm you, tearing at your armor, their sharp claws and teeth finding purchase. Before you can reach the prowler, it retaliates. A massive leg sweeping you off your feet with crushing force. You hit the ground hard, your armor cracking under the impact. The swarm closing in for the kill.
And there we go. I'm dead. So, unlike other AI games, like, you can lose. You can fail. If you do not know what you were doing and you do not make intelligent decisions, you won't survive, which kind of makes this, I don't know, the ultimate Dungeons and Dragons game, but as an interactive comic book powered by AI. If you could take the essence of what this is and put it into a real 3D game, I think you'd have a masterpiece on your hands. Now, the craziest thing about all of this is that it doesn't just work for science fiction games. I mean, you can use this for anything. You can play this as a survival game. You can play this as a fantasy game. You can play this in any setting, in any art style, as any type of game that you want to play. Murder, mystery, action. I mean, you could play this as a freaking Escape from Tarkov looter shooter if that's really what you want to do. And when you create the game world, you can actually define all of this. You can create the title of your game world, a description of your game world, but then all of these advanced options, you can describe the game mechanics that you want to see in your interactive comic book game. You can describe the win conditions, the lose conditions. You can even say what art style you want the game to be in, or even the genre you want it to be. Science fiction, fantasy. I mean, there's really no end to the number of options because these are just text boxes that you can put this in. It's not like a drop down where you select this stuff. Anything in your imagination you can put in these settings and create any kind of game that you want to create and then live in that world and play in that world theoretically forever. Now, again, if you want to download this, it is available for free. You can go get it on my website. I have created a desktop version of this, and the version that you're actually watching is like a beta version that I've been playing around with, where I've connected in the AI voices and some of the other features that I've been experimenting with. And of course, they have pricing tiers where the images generate faster or whatever if you subscribe to their little service. But this company that made this is primarily a video effects company, an AI video generation company. And I think that this is just like a little side project for them, which is why they've made it free. But it's still probably one of the best examples that I can find of artificial intelligence in gaming to date. I can't think of a single other game or anything even close to that that uses AI, like true language models, inside of the game experience that is as good as this. And before I end this video, I just want to kind of show off another random storyline that we can create and from beginning to end show you the entire experience of playing a world inside of, I don't even know if I can call this a game. I'm just going to continue calling this a game, but inside of this application. So when you download and install this, you have all sorts of different options. You can play any of the different games or universes that the community has created. You can browse the most popular ones, you can see the featured ones, and you can solve a mystery or, I don't know, fight in the old Roman wars, or most importantly, create your own, which I've already shown you. But let's take a look and see what the community has been building, because one of the coolest things about things like this is the community will take this and run with it and do all sorts of things, some of which never would have even occurred to me to use this for. I mean, personally, I think using this to do something like SCP would be absolutely amazing, but there's still a lot of people that have more active imaginations than even I do, and they are capable of finding and creating very unique stories that I don't think I ever would have thought to actually create. But one of the more interesting things that I have seen this used for is allowing people to essentially replay history and live historic events either in the Roman Empire or in the Civil War or all sorts of different important points of history. And I thought one of the best ways to show off this game, this application, would be to do a complete playthrough. I mean, you could play this infinitely, but to at least accomplish one of the primary objectives from beginning to end for one of these featured game modes. And that's what we're going to do. Today, we're going to be playing as an officer in the Roman military working for Julius Caesar. And our primary objective is to defend Rome from its enemies. I don't know. I think this is a great showcase of how versatile this system is, because when you can go from fighting bugs on another planet to reliving Roman history, I mean, what other game can do that? All right, so here we go. It's already starting to set up all of our stats, and as you can see, it doesn't just track your inventory, it tracks everything that it thinks is important to the story that it doesn't want you to be able to cheat. So even the time of day, your relationship to other characters, everything.
The air in the command tent crackles with Caesar's ambition.
Lucius, Caesar demands a report on the Helvetii. Their migration threatens our borders.
He gestures towards a detailed campaign map, his finger tracing the Rhone. The legions are poised, awaiting Caesar's direct order.
The Helvetii must be stopped before they destabilize all Gaul.
Your initial assessment will determine the movement of the 10th Legion.
So here we get to make a decision. And as you can see, it actually generates suggestions, decision suggestions at the top. But those are just suggestions. You can do anything. And since we are playing basically a strategy game, I am going to spend this time trying to play as smartly as possible. So I'm going to ask for as much information as I can get so I can make a good battle plan.
Our primary objective is to deny the Helvetii passage through Roman-allied territory, forcing them back or into less favorable ground.
He points to the northern borders.
Caesar's goal is not merely to repel them, but to establish our dominance. He expects a swift and decisive action to demonstrate Rome's strength.
And look at that, it's still tracking the time.
Do you prepare for a direct confrontation, or seek to disrupt their logistics first?
All right, so again, the first match with the Starship Troopers or whatever, I played stupidly just to show you that you can, but I'm still going to be playing smart. So I'm going to basically play this like I'm playing a game of Total War. We're going to still get as much information about our soldiers and the terrain and everything we can to make a good strategic decision. I'm just going to ask exactly what kind of troops I have at my command.
You command elements of the X-Legion, Lucius, Caesar's own. They are the finest Rome has.
He pauses, allowing the weight of that statement to settle.
We have 4 full legions available, supported by Gallic cavalry and auxiliary slingers. Our engineers are prepared to construct fortifications on Caesar's command. The Helvetii outnumber us, but lack our discipline and siegecraft.
And as you can see, even me sitting here planning these meetings is taking up time. It is literally tracking the time of day, even how long it takes to have basic conversations in the game.
Considering our forces, do you advocate for a direct attack or a more defensive strategy?
And you can actually see there, that had a pretty decent suggested decision where it had a suggestion where I could inquire about the terrain, because the AI actually watches you play the game and it makes action decisions that it thinks you would maybe want to take, which I think is a pretty cool detail.
To our north, the Jura Mountains form a natural barrier, difficult to traverse.
He points to a narrow gap between the mountains and the Rhone River.
This narrow corridor, where the Helvetii are expected, as our advantage. The river itself is swift and deep, making crossing treacherous. We could block this passage, forcing them to either turn back or attempt a dangerous mountain crossing.
Still taking up sweet precious time talking.
Do you seize this choke point immediately, or hold back, waiting for a clearer picture of their full force?
All right, I feel like I have enough information to actually start planning out this battle. So we're going to start taking some actual actions that are going to start resulting in this battle moving. We're going to have our troops move out, secure the passage, and we're going to send some scouting parties to check the terrain and make sure that there's no unforeseen problems that we'd have to deal with.
Your orders are relayed, and the legions immediately begin their march to the narrow passage.
There we go, and now we're on to the next chapter. I love the fact that it creates like these chapters, these challenges, this quest system that makes the game feel structured.
Small scouting parties are dispatched, melting into the Gallic forests to gather intelligence on the Helveti's precise movements.
Imagine if they had something like this in the next Civilization game, or the next Total War game.
The success of securing the passage now depends on the speed of your legions against the advancing Helvetii.
I mean, honestly, even if the AI that's running this story is hallucinating here or there, it's still so good at creating a convincing narrative. Again, I have played this for hours and I've tried to trip it up. It is disturbingly good at remembering your previous decisions and sculpting a consistent world where things will just pop up that you did like hours before and you're like, wow, it remembered that I did that. All right, so anyways, we're going to start hunkering down. We're going to start entrenching our positions. I'm going to have all of my soldiers start fortifying this front line.
Legionnaires swiftly begin felling trees and digging trenches, forming formidable defenses across the passage. A wide killing field is cleared, offering unimpeded lines of fire for Roman archers and slingers.
See, and this is why I'm so excited about AI. What other game could you do this in?
The ground trembles with the distant rumble of thousands of migrating people.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
The Helvetii are here. Our scouts report their vanguard approaching.
How will you position your elite X Legion for the impending confrontation?
All right, so here we're getting into the actual battle, and we can start making tactical decisions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my cavalry go to flanking positions, and we already cleared this killing field where we chopped down all of these trees, which is what I would do if I was playing, like, I don't know, a game in Arma. I actually used to do that in Arma, where we'd set up a fob and then just run over all the trees around us so nobody had cover. So I think we can actually start preparing for this battle.
The X Legion, with its unmatched discipline, skillfully moves into flanking positions, hidden from the approaching Helvetii. The Gallic cavalry is poised, awaiting the signal to encircle the enemy once battle is joined.
You know, I wonder if this game could be multiplayer. Imagine if you could make this multiplayer. I think it's possible.
The Helvetii vanguard, a chaotic mass of warriors, emerges from the tree line, their shouts echoing across the killing field. They halt, seemingly surprised by the Roman fortifications. Will you unleash a volley of arrows to break their morale, or wait for them to commit an assault?
And see, that's the cool thing. Look, it understands that we created the killing field. It understands that we established fortifications. It remembers all of these details in addition to the big overarching things like, you know, even the time. You can see up there, it's keeping track of time. So if you spend too much time trying to make a decision, you'll lose the initiative. And potentially, you could even lose the game.
A storm of arrows and sling stones rains down upon the Helvetii vanguard. The X Legion strikes from the hidden flank, while the cavalry sweeps wide to complete the encirclement. The Helvetii, caught between the Roman fortifications and the sudden flanking attack, erupt into chaos. Some charge, others flee in panic.
All right, there we go. And now you can see it's still keeping track of other variables as well. So in this specific game, my military standing, my loyalty to Caesar are actually variables that it will track based on my decisions.
The success of this encirclement hinges on maintaining pressure. How do you exploit their disarray and press the
advantage? I think this is where we start getting hands-on. So we're going to go ahead, and I think we've made a lot of great tactical decisions, but of course, the most important thing about being a leader, and since we also want to impress Julius Caesar, I am going to put myself at the front of this charge, and I'm going to lead this charge into the enemy position. Hopefully I won't get myself killed, but I think that'll also inspire the troops as well as winning points with Caesar.
Your command rings out, and with you at the forefront, the main Roman lines surge forward into the Helvetii.
Oh yeah, 1 big points there. I mean, imagine if they did have something like this in Skyrim. It'd be amazing.
The clash of steel and raw flesh echoes across the passage as your legionnaires meet the enemy. You are now fully immersed in the brutal melee, blades singing and shields clashing.
So, again, I mean, this isn't like an FPS game or anything. Oh, look, I did take damage, though. This is, I mean...
The Helvetii, though disoriented, fight with desperate ferocity. A large, heavily muscled chieftain breaks through a nearby Roman line, threatening to carve a path to your rear. Will you engage the chieftain personally, or trust your officers to handle the breach?
So the thing is this game plays very similar to Dungeons & Dragons. It's not a first-person shooter. It's not even a third-person adventure game. It's very much a playable comic book or like a Dungeons & Dragons AI system. But I think that there is a lot of depth to this system that if you were to combine this in a first-person shooter game or an adventure game, it would work.
You do not have any ranged weapons in your inventory, Lucius. Only your gladius and shield are at hand.
See, I love that you can even check for stuff like that.
The chieftain continues his rampage, creating a dangerous gap in your lines. Will you engage the chieftain personally or trust your officers to handle the breach?
So this is one of those situations where I feel like if I just rush this guy, very similar to the previous game that I showed you, I'd probably get myself killed. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the right tactical decision. We are going to have our officers help us, but we don't want to be a coward. So we want to make sure that we're also directly engaging this chieftain, but we want to do it in a way where we're still going to be keeping our self-preservation in mind. It's going to be kind of like a jointed attack where we're gonna take on help, but we're also going to make it very clear that we need to maintain distance from this guy and only take shots at him if it's at our advantage. I'm honestly thinking like the movie Troy. I want to be like Brad Pitt. I want to make sure that I'm sitting here, staying away, stabbing this guy with my spear. I don't have a spear, though, unfortunately. I mean, and that's cool. Like, I could not just manifest a spear. As you saw previously, I asked if I had a bow. It knows I don't have a bow. It knows what weapons I have. So we've got to work with what we got. And you know what? I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so... Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, man. Come on, Muhammad Ali. You got to do it. Do it right. Come on, Lucius.
Your orders cut through the din. Officers swiftly redirect legionnaires to focus on the chieftain and other pressing threats. You move with calculated precision, deflecting blows and striking openings, always keeping a careful distance from heavy-hitting enemies. Your careful engagement prevents further significant injury while the collective Roman lines press hard against the chieftain's breakthrough.
All right, look at that. Military standing still going up. We did take some more damage.
The chieftain, now isolated and battered by coordinated Roman attacks, falls, and his followers falter. However, a large section of the Helvetii, panicked by their vanguard's defeat, begins to bypass your fortifications, pushing toward the mountains. Will you pursue the fleeing Helvetii into the difficult mountain terrain, or reinforce your current position to prevent further breakthroughs?
So I personally feel like I want to stick to the objectives. Our objective was to secure the passage. We're going to secure the passage. We want to focus on one thing at a time. So I'm going to make sure that we do that. And then once that's done, maybe then we can start exploring other tactical options.
You order the legions to consolidate their hold on the passage, leaving no room for further Helvetii incursions.
Fantastic. Look, objective completed. I wanted to make
chaotic
sure...
screams of battle fade, replaced by the grim sounds of order being restored, and the moans of the wounded.
And that's the thing about this. We could continue playing this forever. We could literally continue playing this game and live out the entire life of this man, because it's infinite. This is procedurally generated storylines. And I mean, honestly, I can't think of anything else that has been able to do this like this in any other game, really ever. Not to this level of detail.
Caesar will be pleased with this swift victory, Lucius. But the Helvetii are not broken, merely divided.
Reports filter in that a significant portion of the Helvetii, though scattered, are now attempting the mountain passes. What is your next priority, given the Helvetii's new direction?
So there we go. I'm going to stop it here. We completed the objective. Again, we could play this forever. But this is Runway Game Worlds, and it's absolutely amazing. If you want to check this out, go download it. It's available on my site. You can install it as a desktop application. It is free. I don't know if it's going to stay free forever, but I think this is incredible. I think this concept, this technology could be applied to so many other things, and I think even though this isn't a super visually impressive demo, I think this supplies, from an AI standpoint, a lot of the things that have been missing from other AI gaming concepts. This supplies the depth, the narrative, the storyline. This is everything that we're missing in AI gaming. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you had access to this, which, I mean, you do, it's free, but what kind of worlds, what kind of games would you want to play? And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.